All right, kids, in this boisterous exploration of naughtiness, David, a little Dickens, careens from one unruly deed to the next, drawing on the walls, tracking mud all over the carpet, jumping on the bed in red cowboy boots. And what I just read not only describes a book written about a 5-year-old called No David, but a 48-year-old man-child frat boy who doesn't believe in anything, but is convinced that he knows what he's talking about because he's rich.
You think if you worked as hard as I was rich as I was, had a house in Nantucket, vacationed on the beach, had beautiful sunsets at the galley, you'd be walking around with a mask on right now?
No, I'm not going to betray my values for that. I'm not going to build myself up by exploiting other people's labor and push my way to the top that way.
You ever been in Nantucket?
No.
That's not funny, David. David is determined to get laughs out of everyone, even from those who might not find his antics amusing. Today, we're going to talk about David Portnoy, Stool Presidente of Barstool Sports, which describes itself as a sports and pop culture blog covering the latest news and viral highlights of each and every day with blogs, videos, and podcasts by the common man for the common man. Portnoy and Barstool recently reached a deal with Fox Sports and FS1, making Dave a regular contributor to Big Noon Kickoff for the 2025 season. His first appearance was yesterday, as of this recording, during the Texas OSU game that my Buckeyes won. We're number one. Dave is a Michigan grad. He went to school. I hope that bit doesn't get old because I got 2 more of them. And U of M has beaten my alma mater in football the last 4 years. Last week, it was reported that Ohio State banned Dave Portnoy from going into Ohio Stadium. And even though the OSU athletic director said that wasn't the case, I knew Presidente would use that as fuel to say he had been censored or silenced or something. And I would use whatever he had to say against him.
There's a reason I'm not allowed in the shoe today, all right? Because he's soft and Michigan has broken him.
Soft, huh? That's not a reference to a body of his built by one bite of pizza he does or does not eat, by the way. But we'll see who's been broken. And for the record, it would be soft to bar Dave Portnoy because you don't want him to troll you. I mean, his takes are terrible. He identifies as socially liberal and fiscally conservative, which isn't a thing. But as you're about to see, people who are also on the right think he's wrong. Seeing how he can be found on Fox Sports as well as Fox News, I can't avoid him as much as I used to. And I've learned too much about him. As I've said before, when I know something, you know it. In other words, you got to suffer with me. I haven't told you that part, but you probably figured it out. With that said, this is the best of the worst people dunking on Dave Portnoy.
Posted the following on your site. I never condone rape, but if you're a size 6 and you're wearing skinny jeans, you kind of deserve to be raped.
Look at that little smirk, bro. He's about to double down on that joke.
Correct.
Okay, all right. Okay, so your jokes aren't forwarding rape culture, but Jew jokes are worse than the Holocaust. Wrong sound effect.
Sneeko is tired of Dave Portnoy. I'll get back to the Jew jokes are worse than the Holocaust thing in a minute. Now, the rest of that clip showed Dave Portnoy responding to Lisa Guerrero of Inside Edition, telling her that he stands by his joke.
You think rape is funny?
No, I didn't say that. I think it's a funny joke.
Do you understand how offensive that is?
No, I obviously don't.
The story that Inside Edition was asking him about focused on Barstool's touring blackout parties back in 2012 that were hosted in multiple college towns across the US. This took place a little bit after Dave posted a naked photo of Tom Brady's son and said, "Bro is 2 years old, relax," when he was told that it was child porn. Believe it or not, Dave Portnoy voted for Trump. I don't know why that previous paragraph easily segued to this one, but he may have triple trumped. But this Trumper, who would vote for a Democrat and has voted for Democrats, simply doesn't want to be demonized by that party for his language and views. Not everything is nearly as serious as it may seem, he said. Really?
You should just go over to Gaza. We can do unnamed. You can be live in Gaza.
I'll jump on Greta Van Thorsten or whatever that girl. She's sailing there, whoever that fucking. I hope they hit a fucking a missile on her boat.
Well, I hope they hit.
I think he was talking about Greta Thunberg there. That's soft. A 22-year-old woman who was actively on a boat aiming to draw international attention to Gaza, in addition to carrying medical supplies and aid there, just in case they were able to break through the Israeli naval blockade that has been restricting goods and travel in and out of Gaza since 2007. Question: was Portnoy's joke the type of thing that incites hate towards women or Palestinians or groups delivering food to Palestine and the Gaza Strip? We've seen what that leads to, right? Because in that same interview that I just played,
You have a conversation?
You're an idiot.
Okay, continue.
You're literally saying people should be allowed to make Jew jokes, say whatever they want right now. That's
Yes,
what
I
you're
think people
saying.
should be allowed to make jokes.
So how many mother Jews have to be
jokes.
killed before you stop?
Wow.
How many?
How many?
Candace? Like,
Just calling somebody a rabbi? I mean,
not the First
I
Amendment,
hope your
right?
skin is thick enough. What is he, like 50? He's in his
Yeah.
50s, right? He's like
Yeah.
54 years old.
business owner.
Log
like,
off of X. Are you kidding me? Like if
Yeah.
somebody makes a joke about me being black and I come apart and I think I now have the ability to like scream at an employee, I own you. You work for
You
me.
work for me.
in an episode of the unnamed show, Portnoy was debating the use of jokes involving Jewish people. One side argued that the jokes were fair, and the other brought up attacks on Jews to prove that those jokes specifically cause real world harm. And I don't know, kind of seems like this brand of humor is usually the bread and butter of Barstool. What's the difference? Nothing is off limits, says dudes who wear t-shirts that say Saturdays are for the boys and rock this hair out of the back of a baseball hat aesthetic, which, why am I seeing so many white guys look like this now? There can't be this many non-mixed, non-ethnic European American men with curly hair all of a sudden. Come on. Are stoolies getting perms? Stoolies are what Barstool fans call themselves. Anyways, Dave Portnoy is Jewish. It's Christmas, David. That one doesn't work. And he apparently feels like words matter. I should mention that he once said his vote for Trump was more an indictment of the Democrats than an endorsement of Trump's politics. NPR, who interviewed Dave Portnoy, of course they did, stated that this indictment of Democrats centers on a lack of blunt talk, an excess of woke politics, and what Portnoy perceived to be a desire to shame men in general and him in particular. I'm not planning on showing Dave shaming Middle Easterners, am I?
Spare me what's going on in the Middle East.
What? Spare me what's going on in the middle. Bruh.
Palestine, Israel, because I admit that's a fucking horrible situation, and I certainly get both sides in that. I do. I don't have answers on how to fucking make everybody happy out there.
And that is precisely why you should shut the fuck up. You didn't even know that Auschwitz was in Poland. You thought it was in Germany.
To be fair and clear, Sneeko, Candace Owens, and Myron Gaines there from Fresh and Fit are all anti-Semitic scumbags. And they're raising great points about who can say what about certain groups in this world. Multiple things can be true at one time. And what was just being discussed is when a college student posted a video on Instagram of a sign in one of Barstool Sports' restaurants in Philadelphia that said, F the Jews. Dave Portnoy offered to send that student to Auschwitz as a teachable moment, but rescinded it after he said the student refused to take accountability. Does that sound familiar, David? Should be the title of the next book in the series. That student said that as a citizen journalist, he knew that the sign was provocative because it reminded people of the unjust things Israel is doing around the world, thus leading to him to report on it. Furthermore, Portnoy and his friends, quote, have no right to destroy my life over free speech and ultimately something that was an edgy joke. Frankly, they're more worried about destroying and uprooting me than the thousands of people getting destroyed and uprooted in genocide. The student said he was suspended from Temple University. The restaurant issued an apology and probably fired people, and y'all. This trend of people making the First Amendment about freedom from consequences instead of the government arresting Americans for what we say has to go away. I wonder if that student citizen journalist got that idea from Barstool Sports. I'm less interested in any free speech absolutist claim Dave Portnoy may have made, and more into the line he has drawn between just jokes and Jew slurs that he also has circled around him and his people. It's become a barrier that he can't see past or over to recognize other marginalized communities.
Wait, you thought he was not standing for the national anthem because he wanted to, like, kill all Americans?
No, I thought he maybe had some terrorist Arabic.
All
right, listen. Maybe it was like on Palestine's side or something.
That's dumb, but he is first team all racial confusion. I don't know what's going on there.
If these white guys think that a brown person looks like another brown person, it shows that they don't hang with the global majority too often. ESPN thought Arvell Reese was Jeremiah Smith. Whatever. However, the association of Arab, terrorist, and Palestine side is the problem. He knows this. He doesn't care. This is part and parcel to what's come to be known as Barstool conservatism, an ideology maintained by a bunch of white guys who look and sound like they would have gotten sued by Candace Owens for discrimination if they had gone to high school with her. Bro stuff, the culture war, anti-woke, anti-gender pronoun usage, anti-feminist, sticking it to social justice warriors, owning the libs, and DEI is unfair and making things hard for us.
We're hiring, Brandon Newman is because we want to diversify. Like, no offense, if he's white, he's not fucking hired. Not a million fucking years. That's what I was going to say before, because we got 9 gazillion people who want to work here who are white, and in my view, which is just my view, not anybody's view, more talented, and we don't hire them because we're trying to diversify. And then he turns around and says, I'm basically fucking racist.
Brandon Newman didn't last a year at Barstool. While there, he wrote an article called Being Black at Barstool is My Job, where he claimed that he thinks the reason he got that job is because he's black. Before ending it with, whatever got me hired, I'm excited to be here repping the culture every time I open my mouth. And I ain't going nowhere. Viva la Stool. Brandon may have left the company in order to be with and for his growing family. Based on a Twitter exchange, though, between him and Portnoy, Dave never thought he was funny, but Brandon thought Dave was racist. But it's not like the 9 gazillion white people who want to work for Barstool or Barstool employees themselves are that talented. They steal jokes, including a video from a woman, a comedian, who was later harassed online for it. They profit from content they don't own. They strategically don't attribute stuff to its original source. According to the Daily Beast, Barstool has built out an apparent system of organized copyright infringement. Good thing Brandon Newman didn't protest and try to get Dave Portnoy fired. Barstool would have suddenly been pro-cancel culture, but for the Brandons of the world, if you know what I mean.
What's wrong with these kids that they think the world needs to be a safe space? Well, who told them that they have to be comfortable all the time? I don't understand. People are sometimes going to say stuff that you don't like. Doesn't mean you protest and you stop going to class. I really hope that people look at who these kids are and that they're not able to get jobs in the future. That could be one good thing.
Question for you. Now, and we're all pretty much have very similar views to that. I don't know about Middleman Dan, but most of us do.
Dave Portnoy has said the N-word a number of times in the past. At this point in the video, you knew that. When presented with that fact, he has said, I would never do it again. But different times, I didn't realize the impact that it would have on some people. He'll make the use of that word out to be a question of context and claim that clips of him using that slur are used against him by people who don't like him. Actually, when reminded of what he has said and when he has said it, he has told what he calls cancel cops, they've been trying to cancel me for 2 decades. I'm uncancelable. I'm big. You're little. I'll cancel you. He has said, you get a pass. You're allowed to if you do blackface with 2 black guys and they're okay with it, which would be like getting accused of being sexist and defending yourself by claiming, I gave 2 girls their own radio show. We have hired a girl after girl. They say it's a great place to work. Something he has done. Guys can say a girl is pretty without being sexist. I agree with David. However, is that the problem that people have with him? Portnoy has been the subject of sexual misconduct allegations from multiple women, some of whom say he engaged in violent sex and others who claim he filmed them without their consent. Allegations that he has denied. He also filed a defamation suit against Business Insider, who published this report. A judge dismissed Portnoy's suit in November of 2022. Speaking of, Insider reported that Portnoy had made multiple unprovoked personal attacks online, and that includes frequent sexually harassing comments toward a woman who wrote for Deadspin. I've been trying to find a good place to put the David Gets in Trouble book cover. When David gets in trouble, he always says, "No, it's not my fault. I didn't mean to. It was an accident." Whatever the situation, David's got an excuse. Yet, he rarely faces consequences or repercussions. Also, it's been a while since a trash person has told Dave Portnoy that he's garbage. So
you're a fucking degenerate. You sleep with people 50 years younger than you. You're 50 years old or whatever. You're not married. You sleep with young girls. You're a fucking piece of shit. You're the biggest piece of shit. You make millions of dollars off of promoting porn, sex, drugs, abortion, gambling. Fuck you. And that's why people have had enough.
I actually came away impressed with a lot of what Dave Portnoy has overcome in order to get where he is right now. Taking Barstool Sports from its humble beginnings as a newspaper that he essentially handed out in Boston to the loudmouth, braggadocious, chronically unaware platform that we're seeing. Him and his businesses have been generous, giving to others, philanthropic. After he stopped being racist towards Kaepernick, he began to come around and saying something poignant on the matter. He has a major issue with Trump's immigration policies. He's pro-choice. Will the fiscally conservative part of his heart allow him to promote a government that will put policy towards funding healthcare, comprehensive sex ed, available contraception, and so on? In spite of everything I've outlined, or because of it, Dave's popularity and influence are in demand at an all-time high. And yeah, WNBA fans wanting him banned from games and actually getting banned from Zach Bryan concerts and, again, not really getting banned from the Horseshoe here in Columbus is something he will take as a badge of honor against people who can't handle how politically incorrect he is. Him being a Michigan man doesn't matter to me. He's just a guy. He doesn't know anything about football. His politics are almost as inconsistent and contradictory as he is. I thought free markets and minimal government intervention was the move for a certain ideology. Where do tariffs fit into this? His ability to attract a younger audience will keep him in front of you and me on the internet and social media and our TV screens. And sadly, that 18 to 39-year-old male demographic that he has locked in hasn't progressed, hasn't grown or developed as they've aged through those ranges themselves. Barstool is either the dorm room they never had or didn't want to leave. It's a safe space for them. His audience likes Dave Portnoy for the same reason he likes Trump. I don't care if he's a joke. I don't care if he's racist. I don't care if he's sexist. I don't care about any of it. Why? Because I love the fact that he is making other politicians squirm. I love the fact that he says shit nobody else will say, regardless of how ridiculous it is. Expect more of that. And, I guess, me trying to make sophomoric jokes work now. I was going to apply the definition of stools to Dave. Then I realized that the seat thing didn't fit. But if we were going with poop, that would be yet another way that he's soft. No. Doesn't work coming from me. We're gonna be all right.